ready, Mr. Brisco?
Ready when you guys are, man. I'm ready.
Welcome to Stories of Brisco and Bradshaw. I would be Bradshaw. That would be your Chickasaw native, your Chickasaw Hall of Famer, Oklahoma's favorite son, Mr. Gerald Brisco. And what an incredible treat we have today, because the entire basis of the women's movement was started with one of the pillars that we have right now, the two-time women's champion. She's a Texas Hall of Famer, and that's the only Hall of Fame that really means anything in the entire world, is the Texas Hall of Fame. She is Miss Jazz. Jazz, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Thank
Hey,
you for that
Jack.
lovely introduction there, Mr. JBL.
Well, I'm excited to have you. I started
Thank
looking
you.
at one of the great things we do, as Jerry always says, is that we get to look through history of people that we already know, and
Yeah,
looking through your history. I mean, what an incredible career you had. I mean, a lot of the
thank
reason
you.
the women are so successful today are people like you and Trish and Lita and so many of these women that were so good and had to be so good at such a seminal point in women's wrestling history.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
And you guys had to take it out from the doll, the penthouse, bra and
Yeah,
panties, put
yeah.
it
The
in
the, the
Jack
pillow
Butley,
fights.
the pillow fight, and put it in a guys wrestling. And man, you guys did that and more. So I've always been fascinated by your career. Also, your fantastic husband, Rodney, and what a good man he is. And
Yes,
we were
sir.
talking earlier. You got 15-year-old twins. I remember back when your twins were born back in 15 years ago.
Yes, sir.
I get
Yes,
are
sir.
they growing up to be athletes or what
Yes,
they're
they're very athletic. They're trying to do everything underneath the sun right now. I have only one daughter that's interested in the business. She's right now we have her training. She's a referee within our company and our dojo here in San Antonio. But yes,
What a
she
great way to start as a referee too, because you
absolutely.
learn both sides, you learn everything. You learn a little bit of office work and you learn the ring work, of course.
Absolutely. And I told her she has plenty of time for her bump card to start. So
Well,
We were talking
yeah,
before we got started about promotion. What we did. Promotions and things. When you first started in the business, one thing that's lost now, and it's good in some ways, but it's really bad in some ways, because you don't get that educational background that we had, where you go to a town, you learn how to set up the ring, you set up the posters, you do promotion, you got to talk them into the arena. You got to learn
and
everything.
we're
everything.
doing all of that. That's how we roll. We old
Good.
school that way. We put out flyers. We're going in the community. We're communicating, talking to the community, trying to get people to come out and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
We're going very old school.
Well, speaking of old school there here, let's flash back. I was reading, Rod Price, a good friend
Yes.
of John's and a good friend of all of us,
Yeah,
and a Texas legend there.
and a great worker.
And a great worker.
Yes.
You actually he is he the one who broke you in, and how did you get to that point? I know Jackie Moore, which we've tried to get on this show, and then we just hadn't been able to accommodate her
Yes.
yet
Well,
on
my
the day.
story is a little different. I grew up I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. So I grew up watching Memphis wrestling,
Oh
Jerry
wow.
Lawler, Bill Dundee, Austin Idol, and everybody else that came through Memphis in the 80s and the 90s, But when I first started, well, told myself I wanted to be in the business, I went and trained under Junkyard Dog, Sylvester, for a little while.
Well, what precipitated that move? Did you see something that you really liked about the business, or you
Well,
have a favorite, or
I
what
was
was it?
always very athletic, my whole, just in school and high
You had
school,
a what? A
everything.
baseball scholarship to
I
where?
had a basketball scholarship.
Basketball. Wow.
Yes, sir. I did. Back then our school didn't offer much. They only offered basketball and track for women, you
Yeah.
know. So our school didn't offer much, but yes, I was very good in track as well. Went to state in the 100-yard dash. My senior year came in third. You know,
You
but
ever race Sheldon
um,
Benjamin?
what was that?
You ever race Sheldon Benjamin?
No, no, no. But
I think you can
I would have been
outrun
ready
him.
for him.
Sheldon was a 100-meter champion. He.
Yeah, I would have been ready for him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was pretty fast. I'm not gonna lie about that.
I
But
got
yeah,
I got money on you. Even if you lose, I got money on you, because I'm not betting on Sheldon.
there you go. Love it, love it, love it. But just growing up watching Junkyard Dog, and I heard he had a school in Louisiana, And I just was like, okay, if this is what I want to do, then it's Junkyard Dog. Why not?
Why not?
I
Yeah.
went
Did
there.
your mom or dad take you to the matches there and locally too?
No, I really didn't. I really didn't start going to the shows until I was old enough to drive myself. And by that time, they had stopped running they had a few shows left at the Coliseum, but they started running at the fairgrounds.
Huh.
But I watched it every Saturday morning. That's for sure. But yeah, went with Junkyard Dog for a little while and trained underneath him, but he didn't really teach us much in ring work. He pretty much taught us the business.
Good.
He taught us how to sell merch,
Amen.
how to sell them Polaroids.
Ron has told me some stories about riding with Junkyard Dog. It was, oh my goodness, legendary.
Legendary. Absolutely. Yes, sir. But when he departed ways from us, when he did his own thing, he moved to Mississippi. It was really maybe a little bit before he passed away. Rod Price that came to Louisiana, and he was like, well, kid, if you really want to make money in this business, you're going to have to wrestle. Because at the time, I was just being a manager. I was walking out with Rodney, and he told me, if you want to really make money in this business, you're going to have to wrestle. I was like, well, that's my plan, is to make money. And from that day forward, they trained me for a day and threw me out there the Saturday.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
A day. What did you learn in that day?
I think I learned take a body slam, how to lock up, take a body slam, and get suplexed. And guess who I had to work?
Who?
Debbie Combs.
Oh, wow. And
Really?
she could work. Debbie could work.
Yes. Oh yeah, she got me the first time we worked together. She got me, but the second time she came through Louisiana, I was ready for her.
There's always that payback. There's always that. You don't get them back too much, but get them back just enough to let them know.
Oh yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm not the same little girl that was 3 months ago.
Oh yeah. Because I was the same way when I started. Some guys, didn't really take completely advantage of me, but a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought
exactly.
It wasn't too long before I got all that back.
Yeah.
You just make a little mental note of all of them, and you never forget. You never forget. Don't ever forget.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
So how long did you train with Rod?
With Rod, I would say about 8 months. And that's when I did my tryout with ECW, and I got on with ECW.
Did Rod have a school then?
Yes, he did. We was in Scott, Louisiana. No, it was Doosan. It was Doosan and Scott. We was having a little school out there. Yes.
Did you enjoy being around Rod?
I did. Rod was no joke. That man arm dragged me out of my shoes. That was laced up.
He had a great arm drag. I mean,
that was laced up.
He's like Steamboat or Jack Briscoe. He had a great arm drag. He was.
Yes, he did. He arm dragged me completely out of my shoes.
Wow.
So you're working there with Rod, and I guess Rodney's working at the same time, right? Both of you trying to make it in the business?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, during that time, it really wasn't many women,
Yeah.
that was working. So I didn't really get to have many matches. That's why I was, coming out, rocking out with Rodney as his valet. But the few matches I got, I had 6, 8 matches before I did my tryout in ECW.
Wow. How did you get that tryout with ECW?
Well, by that time, Rod had started working with ECW. He had talked with Dreamer, and Pauline. So he was working with ECW and told me they was going to be doing a little loop in Louisiana, and told me and Rodney to come up there and so we can get in the ring, get a tryout. And I didn't do anything the first couple of days because I was like, I don't think they're looking for anybody like me, because I was looking at the girls like Francine and Dawn Marie. They was up there getting stripped down to the panties and bras. I'm like, well, I don't think, no, I don't think that's what they're going to want from me. So I didn't think they would be interested. And so the third day, I went ahead and got in the ring and I worked Jason. And I mean, the entire roster surrounded the ring, and Jason Knight and I had a little match. And And yeah, the rest is history.
What was it, Paulie that offered you, or what?
Yes, sir. I left that match. I was butterflies was in my guts. I ran out and I went in the locker room. It was one man game.
Did you know it was good? I mean, you can feel as a talent when they're
I
good.
did no, sir. I had no idea. I've only been training for 8 months, so
Wow, yeah.
I didn't know. But Rodney came and found me. I was puking up, and Rodney came and got me. He's like, "Hey, Paulie wants to talk with you." And yeah, so I once I finished, cleaned myself up, went out there and talked to Paulie. He was like, "Where did you come from?" And Rod's sitting over there, this spit cup, you know, enjoying the moment. Yes.
I always thought that was the toughest tryout there was, when you bring somebody in and you just put like the guys and girls of the roster around the ring, because they're not going to react. They're just going to sit there and watch.
Yes.
It's like you got all these guys who you've seen on TV around you. And because
Yes.
I've seen young guys come in and girls come in, and we're all sitting around there watching them, but there's no crowd reaction.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's horrible.
It's
I think it's one of the worst ways to try out in the world. I'd rather somebody stick them out there in front of a live crowd and see how they do.
Yes, sir. It was
hard.
Thank God they really got into it though. Thank God that helped, I guess. But again, I have no idea. I only think I heard one sound. I was just trying to get through the match.
So what year was this?
This was like 90, the end of 97, 98. It was like 98.
Why would ECW ran Louisiana a few times? Why did they run Louisiana? Was it the TV was good there?
Yes. They went to New Orleans. They went to Baton Rouge. Yeah, they drew really well in Louisiana.
It just seems kind of strange, not that they're, based out of one place, but they're based kind of, out of Jersey, Jersey area, Philadelphia,
yes.
Jersey area.
Yep, the East Coast,
East Coast. People are going to be mad at me for saying Jersey. That area, Philadelphia,
yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
you get heat all the time on your.
I get heat all the time. Believe me, I did one night stand there at ECW. I'm used to getting heat from the ECW people. But it just seemed kind of strange.
Paul did have a great TV network, and I guess his TV was just good in the New Orleans area, huh?
Yes, sir. It was all syndicated. So yes, this before he even got the Spike network and all that on board. So this was pre-TV. This was all syndication coming on at midnight, I believe they were coming on. Yes, sir.
It's surprising. I mean, a lot of shows came on at midnight, and it's surprising how big of a following they had. But if you think about it, there wasn't anything else on except that Indian chief with the making those noises.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow 7 o'clock in the morning.
You're right about that. I remember that.
I always thought if ECW had the internet back then, they would have made a ton of money.
A ton of money.
Because their product was so good. But if they'd been able to get it worldwide easier, those guys would have done. They'd have made bank.
Yes, sir.
The product they had, because it was so wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yes, it was.
Did you know what you were getting into with ECW when you signed with them?
What was that?
Did you know what you were getting into with ECW when you signed with them?
Of course not. And you know what? I had to work the majority of the time I was there. I worked the men. I had matches with the guys.
Well, Francine, she wasn't working at the time, was she? She was just a valet, wasn't she? Or was she in the ring?
Who's that?
Francine.
Yeah, Francine. Yeah, she would, go in there and do a spot or something. But yeah. But we mostly, I took everybody's finisher. I took Rhino's gore. I took everyone's finisher.
Were you worried about what you were getting into as far as, because women during that time, I've always said that Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler, they were great athletes.
Yeah,
they weren't trained to be wrestlers, so they weren't, because they were doing other stuff. And so there wasn't many spots, and the spots weren't really good ones. When you look back in hindsight, there wasn't the women's division like it is now. Were you worried that there was just not a place for somebody that wanted to be a wrestler?
In ECW, no, because I felt that was the one place I would be able to wrestle. If I would have gone to WWF at the time, I don't feel like there was a place for me.
Right.
But being in ECW doing that.
there was a different role for all of the women then.
Yeah, absolutely,
You went through a
absolutely.
point where you had Medusa and Bull Nakano, and you had the Jumping Bomb Angels before that in Japan, where you had women's wrestling was kind of big, but then it just disappeared for a long time.
Yep, it went from that to your gimmick matches,
Right.
Yeah,
wet T-shirt contest, and
Right.
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Jerry will know back in the days of the territories, it just you'd have 2 or 3 women total.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Like shit, Debbie Combs. Debbie Combs to me was one of the better workers and
Yes.
back in the day. When she
Yes,
was,
sir.
So how
Yes.
did you like when you got to ECW? How'd you like it? Was it everything that you thought it was going to be to get into wrestling?
Yeah, well, I didn't really know what I was getting into, I just knew I wanted to wrestle and thought I was just going to make a ton of money. So
how many days a week were you guys did
we just
ECW
did
work?
3. We did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. Just did 3
And
days.
did you have to move up to Philadelphia area?
I didn't have to, but Rodney and I did make the choice of moving up. So we went to New York. We lived in New York for a few months, but that didn't work out well. We just couldn't afford it.
Oh, it's so expensive.
It's very expensive,
especially coming from Louisiana.
Yes, it was. It was so different, just not knowing what we was walking into. But we were chasing our dreams, and we took the chance.
Yeah.
And we still don't have any regrets.
Yeah, of course not. I did the same thing. Mr. Brisco did the same. We all did the same thing. I moved to Europe and lived in a 16-foot-long trailer for 2 years.
There you go.
Yeah, and I don't regret it at all. I loved it.
I moved to North Carolina and lived in a $3 a night hotel room.
See, I love it. See, and I think that's the difference with this generation now. I don't think these guys and girls would do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't even think they go near that $3 hotel that I stayed in North Carolina.
Oh. Well, right now it would be $3. It'd probably be $103.
I would now. I know.
Yes, sir. But just the chance you take and leaving home, leaving your safety net, trying to pursue your career, it's very few.
One time we had like a red roof for a Super 8. One was $44 and one was $36. We had 4 people to a room, but we took the 36 one, even though it was worse because we're saving $2 a person.
That's what we tell our students. You don't know about these guys don't know how to survive on the road.
No, goodness no. And it's good in some ways, but it's bad in a lot of ways.
It is.
You don't get that education from it,
Yeah, we wouldn't trade our experience for nothing. I mean, all the guys and girls now they live in these damn hot, nice hotels. If they have to go to a hotel, and I mean, we look for every discount we could possibly look
Absolutely.
For. And like John said, after you found that discount, you found out how to divide it by 4 because you'd sneak another 3 people into the room.
That's right.
Yes. If you're only making $30-$40, you better try to have a carload to share a room with.
Yeah, we could pack so many bags into Illumina.
Right?
Because you didn't want to rent a Cadillac because it was cost too much. So you rent Illumina. It'd be four big wrestlers in Illumina, and you would
imagine.
It seemed like 30 bags in the trunk. We had professional packers, sticking in there. Yeah.
Jazz, when you broke in, were they charging transportation still, or was that a thing, or are you guys just divide up the car?
We divide up the car. Yeah. They would pay for our flights, but once you get into town.
John, did you guys charge transportation when you started?
Nope, it was all split the car. I know, then in Texas it was all split in the car. We just.
Akbar's the first guy that ever charged me transportation. He charged
me
really? 2.5 cents a mile.
Really?
2.5 cents a mile. Well, how he come up with that half a cent, I'll never.
I rode with Ak for 2 years. He never, of course.
That's right. He started making. He was working in the office when you were working, and he was making extra money. But he was just another talent when I started. So he had to make the. So he get 4 guys or 3 guys in the car, and we're all paying 2.5 cents. How much is that? 3. That's 6, 7.5 cents a mile.
Hey, I think it was Savio. We got to get him back on the show. It was Savio that got all the little guys. We had all the little guys, like 6 or 7 of them, and he got them all in one hotel room and line them up on the bed different ways so you get their grants.
Oh my God!
So they got their hotel money.
Jesus.
You would see them get out. We were one time, we went to some place and he had them all with him, and came in and they paid a fee to get into the bar we were in. And when they came in, they took off the trench coat, and it was one on top of the other on the thing. So he just had it up to his head, and so he took it off. It was two little guys stacked on top of each other, paying one.
Jesus.
They did it more as a rib on the boys than they did anything else, but it was awesome.
Oh my God, that sounds.
The stories back in the day, Jazz. I mean, it's hard for people to believe it. They weren't there.
I bet it is, and yes, I can only imagine. And
So
I see
you're
Dog and Rod tell these stories too, so I've heard quite a few.
well, while you're at ECW, who was your main feud with while you were at ECW?
Jason Knight. I worked Steve Carino quite a few times.
Steve
Carino,
too,
Simon Diamond. I tagged with Supernova a few times. Oh man,
So you was more of a worker there than
yes,
yes,
okay, sir. Good. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And how long were you in ECW before you finally?
I was there until they closed it down, about maybe a good year and a half.
Were you on the last show there? I guess it was in Louisiana with last show.
No, I didn't do the last show. No,
yeah, but you knew the end was coming, right?
Yes. I believe that's why they didn't bring me in, because that was the end.
Right.
Yes,
what were you thinking at that time about everything, about the wrestling world, about the war with WWE and WCW, about ECW? What were you thinking at that time?
Well, I mean, the next goal was try to get to WWE. You know, I bumped into Dreamer at a indie show in Texas because Rodney and I had moved to Fort Worth, Texas during that time. And bumped into Dreamer, and Dreamer said he was going to talk to Paulie. Paulie was already in WWE. He was going to talk to Paulie about getting me a dark match. So it took a couple of months, but they set it up to where I had a dark match with Ivory, and the rest is history.
And what happened after the dark match?
Paulie was like, Paulie, of course, Paulie told me, you're gonna get a call next week. And I waited and waited and waited and waited.
Never left that phone.
Never left that phone. So a few months later, Johnny Ace actually reached out to me. He was like, yeah, I really don't know you, but I've heard a lot about you and they want to bring you in. It's like, yes, sir.
And did you ever meet with Vince during that time, or was it just...
No, sir. That's when they had a developmental in OVW in Kentucky.
Right. Yeah.
So they sent me out there for a couple of months. JR told me they was going to send me out there to get a little ring rust off me. So I stayed out there a couple of months. So all I did was train. I couldn't get in the program because Cornette was like, he didn't know how long I was going to be there. So he didn't want to put me in any storyline. So I just, was there.
Who was some of the talent that you were out there with?
Oh my God!
That was a Hall of Fame,
all the heavy hitters that was at OVW: Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar,
greatest class ever.
Right, the greatest class ever. Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin, Shucks,
Jazz. Throw that in.
Yes, Jazz, Victoria, Charmel, Rodney. I mean, the list goes on and on. Rico, Ron Waterman. Like it was, It was the
who's who of classes at that time.
Yes, it was.
So all you did was train down there because you couldn't work the shows.
No, I could not. Cornette was like, you know how Cornette is.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So if I couldn't be locked into the storyline, he was like, I'm sorry, Jazz. I just can't do anything with you. Like, it was okay. I think it was like a couple of months, and then they brought me up.
And I'm sure with your style of work, Cornette loved your work, but hated that he couldn't fit you in anywhere.
Yes, sir. Couldn't do anything with me. Yes, sir. But a couple of months later, they brought me up into
How did you get that message? Was it Johnny that called you and say, we're bringing you up, or what?
Yes. No, it was I actually went on vacation to go visit family. I had a weekend off. They said we could leave, so I went to go visit family. And the moment we got into Louisiana, they was like, oh, now you need to come up on the roads. I was like, I'm ready. Let's do
How did you like your time in OVW?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was great. I mean, I learned a lot, you had Danny Davis, you had Rip Rogers, then you had a lot of the agents would come in from the office, Tom Pritchard, Fit Finlay, you know, that would come down and work with us. So it was great experience. Rip Rogers was something else, but
You think?
Oh, we love
we
we
learned a
love
lot.
you learned a lot of blue language, didn't you?
Yes, yes. I mean, look, Rip Rogers had us ready to rock and roll at 6 o'clock in the morning some days. Yes, sir.
I love Rip. I love his
Yeah.
attitude. I love the way he is.
Yes,
He's
sir.
just good, man. He's right for his
Rip's
business.
awesome. He just can't say a sentence without the F word in it. It's just awesome. He can't. It's so great talking to him.
I guess that's just being on the road and the boys, I guess.
Yeah, you go say good morning to Rip, and he drops the F-bomb 2 times before he says it back to you.
Blinking his eyes and cussing at the same time.
Did you know when you were out there how good the talent was there?
Yes, I did. I know they were great and they look great, and yes, yes.
I mean, these are all Hall of Famers. You were with the best class ever.
Absolutely. John Cena, the list goes on and on of everyone that was there. Like I said, the heavy hitters.
Was it a little intimidating? Because I think it would be for me when I was young. If I go in, all of a sudden I see all these guys who are going to be, future Hall of Famers. They don't know that at the time, but they're great, talented guys.
Yes, no, I wasn't intimidated at all. I can honestly say, no, I wasn't. I was ready to be brought up to TV like everybody else.
Well, I think that probably has a lot to do with your athletic background, having the confidence. You've been an athlete, a college level athlete. You got to have confidence in yourself all the time.
So I put in the work, I put in the time. So heck, I felt like I was just as ready as anyone else.
Yeah. So how do you finally get to the point where you get that call? Hey, we're going to bring you up. Where did we bring you, and what happened?
I can't remember exactly what town we were in, but they brought me in. They said, you're going to be a heel. And I've never, ever trained as a heel. I always worked as a babyface. And I was like, okay. So they put me out there with Trish, and, we did our thing, and we come back. Everybody ran to Trish. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, what do you
your work was extremely physical and impressive and very impressive, by the way.
Thank you. And I was like, Trish, she was having bruises on her, but she was telling me it's because her iron was low. And I'm like, girl, you need to take some iron pills or something before I lose my job, because they was concerned that I was killing her. She was like, no, she's not even touching me. I'm like, thank God.
Ron and I said the same thing about our opponents. Their iron was just low.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad I learned that. I learned something new, and that's what I could say. Well, I wasn't sick. Their iron was just low.
That's right. Their iron was just too low.
Like Bobby Lashley
great
said,
answer.
My enzymes are high. I want an enzyme.
Yes, sir. That clothesline from hell. Oh, it wasn't stiff. Their iron was just
low. Iron was just too low. That's all it was.
That's all it was. That's it, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. So so when you first got there with Trish, did you enjoy right away working with her?
I did. I mean, Trish was still a little green when I got there. Yeah. Of course, I was still green as well, as far as working TV, but I still had like more experience than Trish. So yeah, I was leading and guiding, the match. So she was fun to work with. And then once we got Fit, became the girls' agents, like that just changed everything.
Well, let's put Fit over. I mean, wow, what a tremendous job! And Fit saw an image or had a vision of how he wanted that girls' division to go there.
Yes, sir.
It was unlike anything that Vince had ever visualized, I think.
Yes, sir.
Because I remember taking Fit there when he was first breaking himself into the women's division there. And Vince, why are you doing this? And Fit sat down, and Fit had a great answer for every question. And Vince just looked at him. Well, you seem to know what you're doing. Continue doing it.
Yes, sir.
And we're all glad that he did, especially the ladies.
Absolutely, yeah. He wanted me to be this killer, this monster, and and I was able to be me. Thank God.
To be me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I worked with Fit in Europe. I've always thought he was the best I've ever seen in the ring. I think the best. You know, he's one of the best heels I've ever seen. He was just
Yes,
he was incredible. You know, and when he came
really
in,
is.
unfortunately he got hurt down in WCW right when he ccame over. With his leg went through that table, and
Yeah.
he didn't have quite as much mobility, but the brain was still there. And then when he put him over the
Oh,
women, it
yes.
just became magic. You know, he took something that may have been a rib and turned it into women's division.
I don't
Yes,
think
he
it was
did.
ever a rib. I think, Fit just Vic kind of volunteered to take the women because I
Did
think
he?
he saw that they just weren't being produced the right way, and he saw ladies like Jazz and Victoria and some of the other girls that could go, and knew what he could do with them, and he found his niche in our business, man. And did he ever, man? And did he help
Thank
out
God for Fit.
so
Yes.
many young ladies there?
Yes, he did. Yes, sir. We've always taught to be a step ahead of your opponent, but Fit was like 5 steps ahead.
Yes.
It was just amazing, to be underneath his tutelage, man. I learned so much.
That was
God.
such an important time. I always thought that the match with Lita and Trish, on Raw, that was main event. First time women main event in Raw.
Yes.
That match is one of the most important matches in
Yeah.
wrestling history, not just women's wrestling, but wrestling history. Because if that hadn't worked,
Yeah, wow, yeah.
the women's division still would have come, but it would have been set back a years.
Yes.
At least a year or more longer, yeah.
But
Yes,
because
sir.
it did work, now all of a sudden you think, oh, wait a minute, we may have something here, and
Yes, sir. And we worked our butts off. We wanted
Yes,
to be
do.
taken seriously. Those girls, before I got there, a lot of those girls were still involved in the gimmick matches, and they were sick of that. They wanted to showcase our talent, to be, well known as professional wrestlers. And so thank God Fit stuck up for us and said he can make us become that. And
What was the talk in the dressing room when Fit come along? Did you guys immediately buy into Fit, or did
of
it take
course we
a
did,
while?
because of course we did. Like, I think we would have joined hips to anybody that was willing to take us and guide us. We just to have someone to give us the attention, to make us better and to make us believable. So yes, we was just, like I said, could have been anyone, but thank God it was Fit. He was meant to have that position.
He was the perfect fit.
He was. It was the perfect fit. Yes, he was.
Sometimes when you're starting something, a revolution, a reformation, anything like that, you don't know you're starting it. You're just doing it because
Yeah.
it's the right thing, or it's because it's
Yeah.
what's inside of you. Did you guys know at that time that you were creating something that was completely different?
Yes, yes, we did. And especially, I mean, when we were told that some of our ratings were higher than some of the guys, then we knew right then, it's like we're making history, ladies. We're doing something. We're being taken seriously, especially a person like Ivory and Jacqueline. They had been involved with all those pillow fights and all that. So they wanted to be able to go out there and just have, some knockout, drag down matches, And then, and you know what? And later on, it was towards the end of my run there. They told us that we're looking too much like men. Our matches are too much like the men matches.
Heaven forbid it looks like a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, our ratings are high, but yes. It's like, so we need the tops to get gimmicked again. So, when you grab the shirt, we need the blouse to come off and you be stuck there standing there in your bra. And so they tried to bring that back. I knew then, I said, well, I guess my time is coming to an end here.
Isn't it amazing?
But fortunately, that didn't last too long.
Thank God.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Isn't it amazing though that it took so long for that? Of course, it happened the same. My wife worked on Wall Street, and it was the same there. They didn't respect it. They didn't respect women at all.
Yeah.
I say not at all. There were a few that did, obviously, but for the
Yes.
most part, they were just kind of pushed aside. And and women now are at least equal.
Yes.
And depending, and what's good about it is depending on the storyline, they're better, which is how it should be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It just took forever for, I guess, society to catch up, not just wrestling, because it was the same thing in business as well.
In everything. In everything. Yes, sir. You're most definitely correct about that. Yeah, but Fit was thank God for Fit. I remember I went out there one night. I guess I didn't do what Fit wanted me to do, and he grabbed me. He's like, "Come follow me." I said, "Okay." So he took me in the catering. He walked in the catering. He opened that door. He started just throwing chairs and tables, and he was like, "You see that reaction from those people?" I say, "Yes, sir." He said, "That's what I want from you all the time." I was like, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir.
He had a great way about
He
motivating
wanted
people.
me to
Huh?
be crazy and
Yeah.
aggressive. I was like, "Yes, sir."
Well, you got that reaction there. Hey, you look. Do you follow today's product in at all? Do you have
I
time?
do. I support women wrestling
Yeah.
24/7. Yes,
We
sir.
we do too. I mean, last night I was walking Bianca Belair and her partner, and I mean, what two impressive young
Yeah,
ladies they were.
incredible
I know.
athletes.
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I could. My saying is like I was ahead of my time, but I was at the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
I just read a book by Buck O'Neill. I don't know. Buck O'Neill was the great black baseball player during the segregation days, and he
Yes.
wrote a book called "My Time Was Right."
Yep.
And,
That's
and, and
it.
the
That's
same
me.
thing, because he's now in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but he
Yes.
never got to play in the Major League. I don't think he ever got to play in the Major Leagues. He may have at the end of his career, maybe a little bit, like kind of like Satchel Paige did. But
Mm-hmm.
he always said the same thing. Don't you wish you were now? He goes, my time was right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
got
my
to be with
time
your
was
buddies.
right.
You got to be with,
Yeah.
I'm sure me and Mr. Briscoe think the same thing now. We wish we were
Right.
out there now because these guys are making bank.
They
Yeah.
making bank.
Yeah. That's the only
Yes,
thing
they are.
I would appreciate. I think now is the bank part of it. But
Yeah.
I look back and I'm sure we all do at our beginnings. I mean, the talent that was coming through, and especially me because I was coming in the '60s, so I still had those guys from the '30s, '40s, and '50s still hanging around, and I got to rub shoulders. I got to sit in the dressing room with some of those names that
Yeah.
are just names in our business. But you know what? I shared a dressing room with that
Hey,
guy.
Jerry, tell Jazz about one of the matches you were in, who the referee was, and all that.
Oh well, I had Joe Lewis was my referee for a couple of matches. It
Okay.
seemed like Joe followed me around for a month. I mean,
He
he
had
worked.
Joe Lewis as one of his referees.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Archie Moore being a referee.
Oh
I
my
mean, even
God.
and I remember sitting in my living room. My grandmother, Archie Moore, was her favorite boxer,
Oh
and
my
sitting there
goodness.
watching, and all of a sudden, Archie Moore's over there, and he's gonna raise my hand and after it's over. It's just phenomenal.
Man.
But you look back on some of those guys, they're legends. And it's same with you. I mean, a few years from now, you'll be telling us, "Hey, I was in the ring with Lita."
Yes.
I went over Lita. I got to wrestle Trish Stratus. I got to
Yes.
wrestle
Sir.
Victoria. I got to wrestle all these Hall of Famers.
Yep.
And you'll be
Jacqueline.
there. You should
Yes,
be there.
sir.
You'll be there one day too.
Well,
And
thank you.
all these stars. I mean, it's great. So we wouldn't trade our position. I'm sure these kids, 20 years from now, they wouldn't trade their position for nothing either. And more power to them too. But it's
Yes.
great.
Jazz,
Yeah.
Jerry called me the other day with the WrestleMania or Hall of Fame or something. He goes, John, come here. And I knew something was important. So whatever my conversation was, I just left. I came over there and I got to meet Mrs. Ali.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just about the biggest Muhammad Ali fan in the world. And
Right.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
knew that.
goodness.
I
Think
knew
we all
that.
are.
I knew
Oh,
that. And John was over politicking as he usually is, and not paying attention. And then, she was going from group to group, and I didn't want to lose her. I just hollered, "John, get over here now!"
Yes, sir. Yes.
it was
No,
so
I
great.
wish I would have got a
As she
chance to
left, I
meet her.
realized who it was. And I stopped her and I said, I just want to
He
tell you
said,
how
"Who is that lady?" And
that's
I
right.
told you bye. He pushed me out of the way and
Yeah.
ran with me
As
to
soon as
get.
he told me, I went and grabbed her, and I've never done this with anybody. I said, I just want to
Yeah.
tell you how much your husband meant to me. I said, and my
Yes,
dad,
sir.
he was right about everything in the '60s. He
Yes.
he took
Yes.
a stand,
Yes, he
and
did.
I said, I wish he hadn't lost his voice
Yeah.
because the world needed him. And
Yeah.
she smiled at me. She said, the world still needs him. And I
Yes.
thought, that's so cool.
That's great. That's great.
I
That's
can die.
great.
I can die now.
Right. That's it.
But it's so cool in
That's
this
my
business,
life.
getting to meet people that are just, legends. And you think,
Yes,
man,
sir.
this is pretty cool. And I'm talking to this person.
I know. That is awesome. That is really awesome.
So your
Wow.
run in WWE, you mentioned it's kind of going backward a step, but before that, that's when you had the run with the championship and all that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. I remember the first night they put the title on me on Raw. And I've never, ever had a title before. I didn't know how to react.
Wow.
Didn't know what to do. They had to tell the referee to tell me, get on the turnbuckle. Go get on the turnbuckle. had no idea of how to react. I was all just so happy and just excited. It's like I was like you, I could die now, I become the WWE Women's Champion, but yes, just
What'd you do that night?
oh my goodness.
Got in the car and drove 250 miles to the next time.
made Rodney drive me around. Hey,
while you're wearing the belt.
That's it.
Rodney, I'll be in the back seat.
That's right.
I'm gonna wear my belt.
You really got to take care of me now, honey. Yes, sir. Yes, it was. Didn't know how special it was. Just looking back at it now, it's like, oh my God, like that was the greatest moment of my life. That and actually, WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
Going out as champion, retaining the title. WrestleMania 18.
That was with Trish, right?
That was history. Yes, sir. That was with Trish and Lita.
Yeah. Compare the two. I mean, there's two iconic names and two Hall of Famers and two ladies that could get the house anywhere they wanted to get them there. And
yes, sir.
And it had to be a thrill working with both of them.
Yes,
I'm not going to ask you to pick one over the other because
no, you can't do that.
I
wouldn't do that.
You can.
We can, but
we'll hold your feet to the fire. Which one's better?
No.
Thank you, John.
But I will tell you this. I knew Lita a lot longer because Lita actually came through ECW.
Right.
It was Miss Congeniality. So I had a couple of matches with Lita, and we used to travel together and stay together, and all the time. Like the 5 people to the rooms. Lita and I were 2 of those 5 people sharing a room.
People don't really realize how young Lita was at that time, either.
Yes,
right?
sir.
I mean, she was a puppy.
Yes,
in fact, Trish, her first trip to the arena, me and Ron gave her a ride because she was too young. She was too young to rent a car in the States. So we saw this, we knew she was, part of the crew. We asked, I don't know how it happened. I said, you need to ride the arena, and she did. And so me and Ron gave her record. I don't know. I'm sure she knew she couldn't rent a car or something, but she was too young to rent a car in the States.
Yeah.
So.
That's almost like Rene Dupree when he first came. I think he was too young to rent a car.
He was too young to rent a
That's
car.
Right.
Also,
Something about those Canadians, right?
Those Canadians.
Got all the talent, just too young to rent a car.
That's right.
But the styles with Lita. I mean, Lita was one of these daredevil like the Hardys, and and Trish was more traditional style worker and everything. And you had to blend in all the time. You had to kind of change your direction.
I did. I had
to
adjust.
being able to have that flexibility in a match where you could do either style is an asset that you had.
Yes, sir. And the sad thing about it is I really didn't get to work Lita as much because shortly after I became got in WWE, remember she broke her neck. So she was out for over a year. So that's why Trish and I was joined, together by the hip. We worked
we were doing
for like almost a year and a half nonstop. So I've had more matches with Trish than I ever had with
you? Wow.
Yeah. I made more money. Money-wise, I made more money with Trish than I made with Lita.
Yeah.
And you were with Lita, you were like me and Ron with the Hardys. You were the one catching them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they go, oh, that high-flying stuff is great. Wait a minute. We're the ones that they're landing on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me get positioned for that moonsault, Lita. Absolutely.
That's right. Making sure you don't drop them, making sure you catch them, and you get killed with feet, knees, legs, everything.
The knees are what gets you. You mentioned Lita's broken neck. Did you ever have any major injury that set you back?
I had a dislocated shoulder, and then I retore my ACL. So yes, I had ACL.
Did you have any type of workout? I mean, stretching that you did pre-match, or was it just
yes? I mean, I jump rope, try to warm up as much as I possibly could. Did a few wind sprints to blow myself up, so I won't go out there and blow up in 30 seconds. You know.
yeah. Being an athlete, you kind of got secrets on how to warm yourself up and how to get ready for a competition.
Yes, sir. So. Try to get that heart rate up a little bit. Jump a little rope. You know.
I always think RVD, he was a great example. He hardly ever got hurt. And the reason he hardly ever got hurt, he spent so much time warming himself out and stretching those muscles out. And
Tracy Smothers used to always say, stretching is the key to longevity. That's what Tracy Smothers used to always say.
I had about 4 surgeries just watching RVD warm up.
Right?
Oh my goodness. I'm sitting there looking going, I would be dead if I did all that.
Yeah. And
he did it every night.
And I guess it worked for him. He was so flexible too.
Oh, and he still looks great.
That prevented him from being injured as well, being so flexible.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I wish I was still flexible now.
Me too. I'm past that flexible stage.
Yeah. Father Time, man, lets you know. It's like,
what do they say about the gym? First you quit going heavy, then you just quit going.
Yes, you have that one.
I'm at the first stage where I quit going heavy. Not by choice. I just can't lift it. I can't
either. No, sir. But I tell you one thing, Rodney was always the one to make me get up and go to the gym. And he's still like that today. You going to the gym? Like,
is he a morning gym person?
He is. Rodney goes to the gym every day. He's still committed. Yes, he is. But Rodney still wrestles too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrestles for NWA. He's still wrestling. So he has to, get in there and keep it going.
But Bullet Bob, Scott and Brad and Road Dogg's dad, he always said never quit going to the gym. And what he means is whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
If your workout's something else, whatever it is, just don't stop. That's when you get old.
Yep, you got to keep going. Keep doing something. Yes, sir.
So how long was your run there? That first time you were in there, and how did it come to an end?
I was there from 2000 to 2004. Oh. Yes, sir. And how it came to the end, I have no idea. I still wonder that myself. All I know is
a lot of us do.
Yeah. They said my phone call said
you're talking to a couple people been fired a few times, so we know what you're saying.
Yes, Johnny Ace told me, Jazz, you'll have a job for life. We've never had anyone, with your type of talent. You'll have a job for life. And that's
we've all heard that story too.
Right, the same guy that called me and said, "Well, creative don't have anything for you." I was like,
what happened to that job for life?
Yeah, what happened? And he said, I know I said that, but I hate giving you this news. Yes, sir. So then they called me back like a few months later, called me back for the ECW when they, tried to have the ECW brand rebranded. But that didn't last long. So yeah, that was the
end. Your second run there, was it just with ECW?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yes, that's unfortunate. That did the same thing with WCW. You put a watered down different version of it, and just there's no chance it's going to work. I mean, there was none. There was no chance that was going to work.
No, and they had me doing a run in on Kelly every night, in her panties and bra.
Did you know her when she first started? She was 17, 18 years old, I think.
No, sir, but I know she was too young to buy wine because she had to get stripped down to her bikini each night. So she wanted to try to have a glass of wine to loosen up, and I had to go in the store and buy the wine. She was too young to buy the wine. So
she wasn't too young to strip down on national TV, but she was too young to get a bottle of wine.
Too young to get a bottle of wine. Yes, sir. Yes,
so you just admitted to serving a minor.
Oh my God. Well, stop that, JBL.
All for the sake of the business.
Yeah.
Hey, I was 19 when the drinking age was 19. Then it went to 21. So about a year and a half, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Too young to drink. My goodness. Yes, sir.
Wow, you're in the wrestling business and too young to drink. That's
Isn't that crazy?
And too young to rent a car.
Too young to rent a car. That's it.
Yeah.
You're making lots of money.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
After that, with ECW, that's when you got. Did you get the call again? And
I did. Got the call again twice.
Wow.
Yes,
and
sir.
when you see that number on your phone, you know what it is, don't you?
Yeah, it was Johnny. He didn't sound excited. Oh, Jazz. I said, oh Lord, here we go again.
Oh yeah, you know right then what's next.
Here we go again. I said, it's all good. I already know what time it is. I get it.
And where did you end up doing that? Where did you end up going?
And that's when Rodney and I, we decided, we got our gym. We started our school and started running promotion there in Louisiana.
What year was this, Jess?
This was like 2005, 2006, I believe, 2006. Yes, sir.
So you were in
And
Louisiana.
from there, I just went on the Indies and kept making money, Stayed busy, tried to stay as busy as I possibly could.
Did you ever get to Japan?
I got to go to Japan a couple of times. The first time I went to Japan, I went there with ECW. We worked in the Tokyo Dome.
Right.
That was my first time. The second time I went through Dr. Death when he was promoting and booking for a promotion up there. I went with him before he passed away.
Yeah. How'd you know Doc from Louisiana?
I met Doc just on the Indies,
Right.
on the Indies. And during that time, he lived in Shreveport. So Rodney and I was in Lafayette. So we would bump into him, and he told me about he was booking for a promotion up there in Japan. And would I be interested? I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you never went on any tours for Japan organization?
No, sir. I never even got to go to a dojo and work because I've always went over there as a name. So I didn't really get to go and really experience the whole Japan, experience. Went over there with Funaki, and he would Mr. Funaki? Yes, he liked to sing too. So I had to go over there and listen to him sing Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley.
Sings?
Not the Funaki from WWE. He was a promoter that would book talent and bring over there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
I didn't know the other. I didn't know.
Yes.
I don't think I knew the other Funaki. I knew Indeed Funaki.
Indeed, yes.
Indeed.
Indeed, he lives here in San Antonio as well.
Oh my goodness. He showed up to an event one time. He had a pickup truck and cowboy boots on, him and his wife both. He had just moved there. It was awesome. It was so great to see.
Yes, Funaki. He's a Texan.
He is, and we love him.
Poor guy.
We claim Funaki.
You claim Funaki? Yes. With the boots and the pickup truck, baby. That did it, right?
You better believe it. He was a young boy for Animal Hamaguchi when I first went over there, and they had a gym there upstairs near the Ueno station near the big Shiite shrine, and that's where I first met him. Just a nice young man.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So second time after you were let go, was WCW out of business that time, or were they still?
Yes. Going? Oh yes. They had already brought him to WWE. Yes. Yes, sir.
So
that's one promotion I wish I could have worked with was WCW, but I wasn't lucky enough to get in there and make some of that money.
That was back in the day. That was because we didn't have guaranteed contracts, not until Scott and Kevin went to WCW, and that's when it kind of all started, the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah,
those guys had guaranteed money. We were always like, it'd kind of be nice to have a little guaranteed money.
Yes. Nora got to work in WCW. I'm like, Nora, I said, I bet you're still living off that WCW money.
That's right.
Yes.
So where did you go after that? You also worked in some other promotions, right? After that?
Yes, I just worked the Indies. Actually, I had got a phone call from Terry Taylor in 2007. But it was right the same time I had just found out I was pregnant, and he called me to give me a job with Impact at the time, And I was like, Terry, I was like, God, I would love to, but I just found out I'm pregnant. I said, give me about a year and a half, and I'll be ready. But I never had the chance to work with Impact. So yeah, I just stayed on the indies, man. Just stayed busy. You know, and
have you
after a
enjoyed
while,
being
I
a
went and got a
promoter?
job. You know, I had a job working at a correctional facility.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, sir. In Louisiana, yes, sir. I did that for 5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Is that a tough job?
No, it was a big daycare, honestly. You
Big
know,
daycare.
I worked at the parish. I didn't work at a prison. So the parish is just like a county jail, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I ran the warehouse. I ordered all the food for all the inmates and all the staff to eat. That's what I did over there for 5 years. Actually, up until we moved here to San Antonio.
Me and Ron one time went to some correctional institute somewhere, and we had these young guys, aged probably 18 to 30, and they weren't listening to nothing. They didn't want to be there. And Ron gives the greatest speech I've ever heard. I grew up with no parents. I grew up with no money, and I became a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy. I'm the first black heavyweight champion. He goes, "You got no excuses. Just listen." And I'm sitting there listening to him. This is the greatest speech I've ever heard.
Yeah, right.
But then I start thinking, wait a minute, I'm next.
Yeah, how are you gonna follow that?
What am I gonna say?
Yeah. How are you gonna follow that one?
Yeah, I just like, yeah, what he said.
What he said.
I'm his tag
No
team partner.
excuse.
What he said, I agree with.
No excuses.
No excuses. That's right. Oh, it was amazing. Every one of those guys got up after he was done, gave him a standing ovation, want to come shake his hand, because Ron's Ron. There's nobody like Ron.
Yeah, so that demeanor and that,
but I did learn right after that. I will go first next time.
Right, from here on out. Yeah.
From here on out, I'm going first. It's going to be very short, and it's mainly going to be an introduction to who's next.
Yes.
And here's Ron Simmons.
That's right. Here's Ron Simmons. You're going to love this. I'll get out of the way.
So as you're leaving there and you're working independence, and I'm sure it was kind of hard, did your passion for the business kind of wane, or did you
it did for a little while,
You're Rodney say, I want to do this training. I want to train people.
I was a little bitter for a little while, but I had to kick out of it and be like, hey, because we still had so much love for the business, and had to come to realize, like, this isn't our lives and career isn't over, so we had to just stay on the grind and start.
And you're young. Hustling. You're basically really young at that point.
Yes, sir. Just keep hustling. So
you
that's
can't give up everything. Yeah, you got to keep going. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's when you decided. What was the first, a gym or wrestling?
The gym, both, because the gym. Then we put on. We started the school. So the gym.
Did you start the gym, or did you buy an existing gym, or how that?
No, we started it. We funded it. Everything.
Wow.
We started it. Yes, sir. We bought all the equipment, everything. Yes, sir. We did that, like I said, for a couple of years, and we had a promotion. We ran out there in Louisiana, but Louisiana is a commission state.
Yeah.
So you don't say anymore to us.
That sucks, especially for an independent promotion. Yeah,
were they the bloodsuckers with you guys with the independent promotion like they were with the big guys?
Yes, sir. We had to pay. It was $250 for a booker fee. Then they come and get a percentage off the gate based on the house. You have to have an ambulance there. You have to have a doctor there. So we're talking about over $1,000 before you even sell a ticket.
And they don't do anything for you.
Nothing.
Nothing. They
give you that slip of paper, John.
That's right. All they're doing is taking money out of your pocket.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know we haven't discussed me being the only woman that Teddy Long has ever managed.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, so thank you. I was going to ask you about
Does he still owe you money?
He still owes me money.
He owes us money too. He owes John transportation.
Oh my goodness, it's about $1 billion right now. What he owes me and Ron after the interest on the fees. He didn't pay trans. He didn't pay gas. He didn't pay food. He paid nothing.
He didn't pay for the chicken or nothing.
Nothing. He didn't pay for chicken. Nothing.
And plus, he left Ron on the side of the interstate in a blizzard.
He did. Oh my God. Yeah, he left him right on the side of the road. Drove off and left him.
That daggum Teddy.
So tell us about your experience with Teddy Long, Theodore Long.
Teddy, I mean, you know what? Just a gem to work with. Again, someone full of knowledge, and he just so much knowledge. And just to have him guiding me and Rodney was just the best experience ever. Not only did I have Fit, I had Teddy. So I had the best of both worlds, So I was destined to be the best.
Yeah, sure.
I always thought Teddy with Ron and Butch was one of the greatest teams ever. I mean, that was intimidating. And you had the perfect spokesperson. I mean, those guys were, I don't know if you can consider them underrated, but they should have been around for 15 years.
Absolutely underrated. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I agree.
How'd you get stuck with Teddy?
I don't know. I guess hey, it was off this great idea, and I'm glad that it happened.
Now, what circuit is this? Is this WWE or
this is WWE? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's when remember when Rodney did the whiteboard challenge?
Yeah.
You remember that? Yes. That era? Yeah, it was that era.
Yes. Yes.
You remember that, JBL?
Oh, absolutely. I loved it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
And Ted would come out there and cut his promos and talking about Whitey this and Whitey that. That Ted and Long, man, he was never lost for words, for sure.
Never.
Yeah. So that was great. Not only working with Teddy, but it allowed me and Rodney to actually work together, and then we teamed with Mark Henry. We was thugging and bugging. So
yeah, that was a good team.
We had good times, man.
That was a good time with Teddy. I forgot all about it.
We all traveled together, and we're always hungry because we're the athletes, and Teddy just want to eat a sandwich. We're like, look, Teddy, we're hungry. He's like, well, we can wait. And like Mark Henry said, if you pass up one more exit, I'm gonna bite your fingers off.
And he would too.
And he was cheap, man. God, he was cheap.
Ain't the worst.
Cheap, no, Teddy Long cheap. No, that ain't so.
Hey, one day all you're going to see on a treadmill are sweatpants and tennis shoes, and Teddy's going to just go poof and disappear.
Yeah,
he don't eat. He does cardio for hours a day,
and sweats, and you think he drank a case of beer as much as he sweats.
And he's that big around too.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
He weighs 12 pounds.
He would eat how the Hebners would bring their deli meat, their sandwiches every now and again, and Taylor would grab that, and he was like, he's good for the night. We're like, but we gotta eat, Teddy. Like, we just went in there and bumped and worked for 20, 15 minutes. Like, we gotta eat.
So you're saying Teddy actually was driving?
Who
rented the car? Because I know Teddy wouldn't rent the car.
Sometimes it was Teddy, sometimes it was Mark Henry.
Oh, yes. So it had probably Mark Henry.
I can see Mark Henry doing it. And Teddy didn't want to put a credit card down on anything. That thing has cobwebs on it. Ron used to say Teddy still got Confederate money. He's got so much money.
Right? He's that guy.
Every dime he's made, he's got it.
Yes. Yeah, he's gonna go to the hotels where he can get his points too. You gotta get those points. Gotta get those points.
Have you seen his dog, Mr. Rufus?
Was getting big screen TVs and everything. He accumulated so many points.
Have you seen his dog, Mr. Rufus?
I have. Yeah.
Isn't it a great dog?
What is it? I've never seen him.
It's I know what color it is, but I don't know what the breed is. I mean, he sent me pictures all the time. I don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of dog is
baby? I forget what kind of dog it is.
It's not a lab, is it?
That's his baby.
Oh my goodness, is it?
Yeah.
I always called him Miss Theodore Rufus Long. That's where he got the name from it. He named his dog Rufus after that, Mr. Rufus.
Oh my goodness.
And I told him, I said, that ain't Rufus, that's Mr. Rufus.
Yeah, Mr. Rufus, yes.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful dog. I every once in a while I randomly send him a text. I go, send me a picture of Mr. Rufus, and he'll send me a picture of him.
Yes, we haven't talked to Teddy in probably a month, man. It's time for us to reach out to Teddy.
I ran into he was in St. Louis. Is that where I ran into you last month or St. Louis?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, the last time I saw you was at Mania.
Was it Mania? Okay, that's where I saw
Yes,
you.
sir. But I'll be
Yeah.
seeing you in Iowa this year in July.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Iowa, and I can't wait for that either.
Yeah, I'm
John,
excited about
John's gonna be there too, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, of course he is.
And is
James
Rodney
Beard
coming up with you on
No,
that?
sir, he won't be at this one, but maybe next year we can get him in
Okay,
there.
well, I he's a guy that truly should be a candidate for our Hall of Fame there because he
Yes,
had
sir.
amateur wrestling background and excelled in our business and everything. He's a candidate, so I'm gonna do everything I can to get him on that ballot next year. So
Yes, sir.
hopefully
I'm sure
good
he'd be
things
excited
can
to hear
happen.
that.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, sir.
That's a great weekend too, Jazz. You'll really enjoy it up there. There's some great individuals.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I've never gone. There's a few things I've never gone to. I've never got a chance to go to the CAC.
That's another one that you got to make.
Yes.
Yeah. Great organization. They do great work there. They help out so many people, that are in
Yes,
need
sir.
there. But yeah. So what's Jazz doing now? I mean, what are you guys been up to here?
Well, Jazz is, besides being a wife and a mom,
A mom of twins there. Tell us a little bit about your twins we were talking about before we come on the air. One of them turned into an athlete, right?
First off, they're girls, so you already know.
Yeah.
They're always needing and wanting something. They're girls.
So
we just, we got our hands full. They're teenagers now, and so
are they learning to drive? Is that
yes, we're working with them on that. In fact, this summer I told them I was going to put them both in driver's ed so they can drive themselves around because mom and daddy, man, we're somewhere every day.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're somewhere every day with those girls, take them here and there. But yeah, we got that going. We have our dojo. We train Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here at the Dog Pound Pro Wrestling Dojo.
And that's it. Tell us the location so we'll know where it's at.
Yeah, what'd I say, baby? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Is that Rodney over there? Tell him to come in front of the camera for a second.
He said, "Come and say hello, Rodney." You didn't. Yep, you didn't. Open your mouth now. Yes, sir. So yes, we have that. Our dojo. We have our promotion that we're running here. Like I said, you guys want to come in and do your fan fest deal with that.
What's up?
Hey, my man.
What's up,
How
Rodney?
you doing? Good
How you
to see
doing?
Rodney.
Good, man. It's good to see you guys.
Wow,
It's good
you
to
look
see you.
great, man. You look fit as ever, man. How you been?
Thank you, man. We just been, surviving and trying to hang in there, man.
Good, man. That's all any of us are doing anymore. Just trying to get by in this old world, man.
Yes,
sir.
We're having a great time.
How do you
with
like
your
being a
wife.
wrestling coach?
Oof.
He loves it.
Well, yeah, it's I've always, ever since high school, for some reason, had that position, going back to high school and helping out. So I pretty much always had that jacket, so to speak. Yeah, pretty much love it though, man. Love helping out kids and.
Oh, ain't that great? I mean, it's a great fit, especially when you get one that starts to catch on, and he can feel he's catching on, and he's catching on. That's always a great feeling.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's I always enjoyed talking with you around and everything. It was such a pleasure there. So it's always
We're talking
good
about how
to see
cheap Teddy Long is before you came on.
I was sitting over there just laughing inside. Yeah, Jazz was so right, and I remember those stories like Mark Henry would go off because he's like,
He want to eat.
Pass one more exit, I'm a bite you. He's so funny. Oh yeah. Always a good time with those guys.
Teddy would get so mad at me and Ron because Teddy would drive, and he would smizzle a little, but he wasn't drinking. So, then I go, Teddy, we got to stop off. He goes, again, we're never going to get there. I'm like, Teddy, just pull the car over. Just pull the car over.
That's Teddy. Yeah, he want to get straight there. It's like, bro, we got to eat. Like, we got to make at least one stop. One stop.
That's right. He don't want to stop because he didn't want to spend any money.
No, not at all. We've actually stopped and gotten food, and Teddy stay in the car.
Really?
Stay in the car.
We'd go through the toll booth and Teddy would pretend like he's asleep every time. I'm going, Teddy, we know you're not asleep. You were just talking.
Throw your
to
dollar
us.
in, Teddy. Throw your dollar in.
Yeah. One time it was Teddy's turn to buy gas, and so me and Ron drove the car around extra. And when we pull up in the gas station, we put in the super unleaded.
Oh,
it was almost got it up like to $25 or something. Ron goes, pour the rest on the ground. So I just poured a bunch of grass on the ground.
I know Teddy was hot the whole trip.
Yeah, Teddy went up there and the guy told him, man, he goes, how much is it?
I know he was hot. Did he even talk the rest of the trip?
No, he was mad the whole time. We literally poured out super unleaded on the ground. It is Now
that's the best rib ever right there. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you was like, I was just letting you know what we got going on here. We train Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursday, Dog Pound Pro Wrestling Dojo.
Give us your websites and all that stuff that people gotta look
It's
up.
exactly what it is. dogpoundprowrestlingdojo.com. You can follow us on our socials, DP Championship Wrestling on Instagram. I think the same is on Twitter as well. You can always reach out to me on Instagram as well. It's phenom_jazz. If you can't find the dojo or the championship wrestling, you can always reach out to me. Yeah, we just, we got some things coming along here. We're working with the NWA. I'm the head producer for the women's division, the NWA.
Did you go on the road with them, the NWA?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just got back Sunday. Yes, sir. Cool. Rodney wrestling with the NWA.
We had Corbin. That his name, Corbin.
Yes.
On our podcast there. He did a tremendous job on our podcast too. And
yes, sir.
We had Tyrus on there too. Of course, Tyrus goes back
with
the WWE days and Austin Idol. So we've had a lot of those, and we appreciate the NWA, what they're trying to do and everything.
Yes,
it's always a near and dear organization to me.
Even the traditional.
Hey, keep talking. I want to show you what I got here. Go ahead and keep talking. I want to show you guys.
Jazz, you guys enjoy being promoters? I mean, you enjoy that?
We do, a little stressful, but it's a little stressful at times. But yes, we do. We love giving our students a platform, and helping them grow and become, we hope, superstars of the future.
Some guys, become promoters and they think, I just want to be a talent. It's not made for everybody. Some people think I want to be on the other side of the, the ledger and be a promoter, but then some people get there and think, really don't like it.
Put in that different kind of work.
Yeah. I've been a part of this organization John knows about, called Headlock on Hunger and Beyond All Borders. And this year in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina, Western Carolina, we're going to have an amateur wrestling tournament, and they decided to give away a championship belt for the outstanding wrestler. And so I got the first one. I want to show it for the first time publicly here.
Yes,
what it looks like, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's my brother Jack there, and I think they got my picture. It's called the Brisco belt, and we're giving it away at the Western Carolina. It'd be the Headlock on Hunger. It'd be the first collegiate wrestling tournament.
That's awesome.
That we've held. We do several amateur tournaments here in Tampa, and WWE gives me championship belts to give away with their WWE belts. A friend of mine up in Carolina said, let's do the old Jack Brisco world champion. The red, the red Jack only wore for like a week, and it had velvet on it, and a velvet when it gets wet and everything, it started sagging, and it looked like hell. So he took it off and painted it black. So I got it ended up black. So they did the red one. I'm really proud of this thing here.
No, you are.
Really proud of the tournament coming up too. So. But I appreciate you guys being involved in amateur wrestling. I know that both of you guys, a lot of you guys, passion there. So it's a great sport. And
Rodney incorporates that with the pro wrestling.
Everything we do, yes, sir. It has a base of amateur wrestling.
You may not remember, but I used to do a couple of amateur things in the ring as well.
Yes, I know.
Yes, sir.
It's so important. You don't want to get a step away from real wrestling. You want to, guys that do best, they imitate real stuff.
Yes.
Guys that, in my opinion, don't, they imitate what either guys are imitating. They imitate what guys did in the Attitude Era. They imitate a video game. They imitate something. When you're imitating the root of it and you go to that root, that to me, it becomes so much more believable in the ring.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, John and I want to just thank both of you and tell anybody out there listening, if you want to be trained by the right people, want to get the real basics of the business and get some strategy on how to do things right, you can't go wrong with you guys at school there. So look them up if you're in that part of the country, or if you're just looking for a place to go and learn how to be a good person. You're looking at two people right there that can teach you that too. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Jazz. Thank you so much,
and I look forward to working with you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I've been so excited that when Jerry told me that you were going to come on to be able to get you on. It's been a real pleasure and a double pleasure to get to see Rodney after. I hadn't seen Rodney in years. So
in and saying hello, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
I remember this. I'm gonna let y'all go. I remember this, JBL, when I first got there. You and Ron Simmons used to always say, "Well, we're gonna see how long it's gonna take you to change."
Yeah,
people change.
Right.
They get around here, they change.
You guys were sitting down in the hallway at a table, and people were passing by, and you would go, look. There she goes.
That's right. That's right.
Never forgot that. And I must say that I never changed, Mr.
No, you didn't change.
I never changed.
I'm gonna remind Ron of that.
Yeah. How long have you guys been married now?
Oh my God, going on, it's 20 it was 24 years, we're going on 25 years.
See, marriages can last in this business, John.
That's right.
I miss John. Rodney will love this. I was supposed to be a bridegroom, but
you're supposed to be a bridesmaid.
A bridesmaid.
A groomsman. I got you. I know what you mean.
Thank you, John. Anyway, my son qualified for the state tournament, his first time. So, Rodney, what are you going to do? Go to a wedding and you think a guy's going to get married again every 3 or 4 years because this is the second marriage. So I called him and said, he didn't understand. I said, John, my son just qualified for a state tournament. It's big. I as a parent, you just can't miss that,
Yes.
And well, Mr. Briscoe, I said, no, John, I promise you I'll come to your next one.
That's right. That's what he told me.
Fortunately, it never happened.
I can't come. And I said, look, I don't blame you, state tournament. He goes, I'll come to your next one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I love his wife to death, Meredith. She's such a fine lady. I don't know how she put up with John all these
20-something years, still married.
Yeah.
Well,
so. What Ross said, baby. So what?
You allowed a 6-pack.
You allowed a 6-pack.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you're more generous than my wife.
Jazz, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. JBL, stay in touch with me about your Fan Fest ordeal.
I will.